We are the Grizzwolds, Grizzly lifelongers, a dysfunctional community, a Perth Bears podcast, independent and fan-focused. I'm Phil. I'm a sports broadcaster and journalist by trade, but more importantly, a lifelong Bears tragic. And this is a new show. Each and every week on a midweek, we are joined by Mitch. Say hello, Mitch.
Hi, everyone.
Now, obviously, we've also dropped a little trailer which gives you guys a little bit more of a background and backdrop into our fandom and where it all began for us. Encourage you to go and check that out. Not too much more riffraff on this one. We're basically just going to get straight into it. We've got every week to start unpacking those things and start reaching out and engaging with plenty of other members of the Bears community, new and old. So we will sort of just jump straight in and get in there. But we're going to break down some Bears contracted players, basically, that have started the year hot, hand out some 3-2-1s at the end of the show. But first, a topic each. And basically, let's get into it, Mitch. Where do you want to kick this one off?
Look, you got me here, so I think it's only fair that you start off. What do you want to talk about?
Let's go first up with the Bronson Cherry situation at the Bulldogs, because I think there's a few things to hit on here.
Yep.
And I'm going to start at the first thing that popped into my head when I heard that there were rumblings around Bronson Cherry's future at the Bulldogs at left, particularly it surrounds this whole left centre situation, basically. And the reason I'm concerned about that is because does it present a longer term opportunity for Matt Burton to stay at the Bulldogs? Right now, he is quite clearly not in their long-term plans. He's still got another season to run on his contract, taking him through to the end of 27, which is obviously the first year for the Bears in the NRL. But when the Bulldogs had the opportunity to go and pick up Lachlan Galvin, which they took, of course, and the fact that they've got Mitch Woods as their undeniable future at the number 7 spot, Matt Burton's the odd man out. Yeah. Now, if Bronson Cherry all of a sudden departs Belmore, then they need a left centre. Matt Burton's a premiership left centre in the past. We know he can play there. Does he want to play there? That's a different story. But I've been carrying the belief that Matt Burton ends up at Perth.
Yes.
Where do you sit on this one, Mitch?
I'm the same. I think I don't see him wanting to play centre because if you look back as the reason why he left Penrith in the first place, they offered him the halves position at the Bulldogs. So I think if he was to be told to go centre, I don't see him basically being untouchable. Like if the Bears came in, or any other club, but fingers crossed the Bears go and say, hey, we'll offer you the halves position. How much, I think he'll be there, left, front and centre. Because I just don't see him. Yeah. Basically. I just don't see, but even that, I don't think the blank check will be that expensive because I think he's all about culture. I think he's good mates with Sexton. Being able to play up with Sexton again would be another draw point. But I think I don't see him wanting to stay at a club just to play centre because if he wanted to do that, he would have just stayed at Penrith.
I agree. Although, would you agree that it presents another opportunity for him to stay? The chances of him now coming to Perth might have just gone down a fraction.
I disagree. Okay. I think I can see merit in that, but I think he fundamentally went to the Bulldogs to play in the halves.
Yeah.
So, and if he's now being told, oh, actually, no, we want you to play in the centres, he'd be like, hang on, what? Why? And then here are the Bears going, hey, mate, like you could be our marquee, you could be our pin-up boy. We'll offer you more money. And technically a place where you're not in the limelight all the time. You get to play with Toby Sexton again. And don't forget Curran. Curran will be there. And then Luke Smith. He's from all accounts, he's got some interactions with Luke Smith. So I don't see him staying if he has to be purely as the centre. I don't.
It probably opens up the potential, though, that he plays out his contract.
Yes, but
which means that we can't touch him until 2028.
Well, yeah, I can see that, but also it might also open up the opportunity for him to want an early release. Like it might.
Well, I think that's going to happen. Like right now, but before this situation, call it.
Yep.
I was predicting an early release regardless, to be honest. And because he is the odd man out. Now, Mitch Woods, again, he hasn't even played a first grade game yet, but he's unequivocally their future halfback. He's a gun. He's come through as one of the brightest prospects in rugby league, but he's now dealt with hamstring issues twice in 2 years. He's currently going through that from something picked up in the preseason, something more on the serious scale. He's realistically not going to even be able to fire a shot at the selection table until, either month 2 or 3 into the NRL season, assuming his rehab goes, entirely according to plan. But there will come a point where Cameron Ciraldo and Phil Gould and whoever else is making decisions at the Bulldogs wants to try and start to integrate Woods. And again, I know that they're going to play the patient game, but they're going to want to start to integrate Woods into that mix. And Galvin is their long-term 6. So there will come the rubber will meet the road on the Matt Burton situation. It's just whether or not the two sides can sit down at the table and discuss some kind of early release. Because from the Bulldogs' perspective, they could open up salary to go and sort out another hole on their roster. Like there would be reasons for them to release a disgruntled Burton as well.
No, I mean, yeah, but he just to throw a spanner, not a spanner into the works, but just an outside of the box thinking with those hamstring injuries. We can't necessarily maybe potentially rule off the idea that maybe if Mitch Woods has another serious hamstring injury, that they may not want to put their faith in him going forward. They might go, well, hang on, we've got Burton here already, and they sort of might cool off. They wouldn't be the first club to cool off on a generational talent. Like they wouldn't. I'm not saying that will happen, but that's still a scenario that could possibly play out. And if that's the case, then Burton will probably stay. But then obviously we can make a play at Mitch Woods.
I see the logic, but I think the talent is just different.
100%.
With Mitch Woods.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is a concern. I've got Mitch Woods in a Supercoach comp, and I want to see him come through and break through. And I am concerned that he's now had 2 pretty serious hamstring injuries. This is a teenager, or might be 20 now, but for him to have already dealt with this, it's reasonably concerning. But anyway, look, we're going to wait and see on this whole Matt Burton situation. I am severely holding out hope that he signs as one of our marquees. And speaking of marquees, Mitch, what do you want to talk about?
Look, I want to talk about the idea of what a marquee is. Now, it's the whole marquee over the years and all codes, so AFL, soccer, NRL, this whole idea of a marquee, what criteria do you need to have to be a marquee? Now, I keep getting his last name wrong, but Shibby, I know him as Shibby I can never get his last name
Shibasaki,
right. Shibasaki, yeah. Now, I've heard his name being thrown up as a potential marquee signing for the Bears. I'm like, well, hang on. He's only been around for a year, and even at the Broncos, he was on a train and trial contract. And just because he played State of Origin and then played, in a premiership and played for Australia, then all of a sudden he becomes a marquee. Well, okay, if you're going off that, then you've got Talakai, who played international football and he's also played State of Origin. You've got the 4 premiership winners from the Penrith boys. So what is a marquee? And then obviously, as someone who's been following the Super League since, since our announcement that we're coming in, I've kept a big ear to the Super League because obviously that's where they're going to have to get some players. And you look at the James McDonalds and the Harry Newmans, who, if we were the Super League, they would be absolutely classified as the marquees because they're of the age, they're great talents, and they've got, so...
Newsflash, they're not marquees.
They're not marquees. So because they're just we don't know much about them. So my opinion is, what is a marquee for, say, for you, for me, for anyone, might not be the same criteria for others. Now, I understand in sort of marketing terms, a marquee is a pin-up boy, someone who'll sell jumpers, someone who'll, fine. Like, AJ is the pin-up boy, the marquee for Papua New Guinea sort of thing. Now, I honestly think, I know people don't, this is, one of my crazy theories, but I honestly reckon James McDonald will be proven to be one of our marquee signings, because he's young. He took a little while to develop, but last year and even this year, he's just gone up and up and up. His mindset is, I want to prove myself, not I come into the NRL to be good. He's like, no, I want to prove myself.
For those playing at home, just quickly, James McDonald, he's currently at Leeds. He will be 26 when he arrives. He's an Irish international. He's played close to 100 Super League games, but he's a promising edge forward.
Yes, well, he ran 2,000 plus metres last year, which, as you can imagine, is pretty solid. But what I find, and what I really like about this guy is, again, just because he's a marquee off the field, he's also, for me, someone that is a marquee in terms of culture. He's known to stay behind on home games and help clean the stadium up. Like, not because he was ordered to, just who he is. So I think his work ethic will help him sort of just thrive in the NRL. That challenge, he wants to be challenged. So in terms of a marquee, I think the idea of a marquee is a bit skewed at the moment. I think the Bears have done very, very well in terms of money balling and sort of finding players that are solid and a lot of potential, but sort of also players that have got under the radar. Like, you look at Tyrone Wishart, like, he's been stuck behind one of arguably some of the best spines in NRL history, but he's still a fantastic player, just because he hasn't been able to play as much. But if you put him into, say, a St George team where he could shine, what means he can't be a marquee? Like, Meaney's a starting, player, but obviously just gets outshined. So I don't know. I just think
when I think of marquee, again, coming back to what you were saying before, it's pin-up.
Yeah.
We've recruited the ultimate marquee coach.
Yes.
In Mal Meninga. We've done that for a bunch of different reasons. He's obviously got a great track record with the Maroons and at test level as well as a coach. Certainly not in the NRL, but he's got that high profile, and he was brought in for a specific reason to help grow the club over in the West in that developing market. Yep. And he might not be your first pick from a strategic week-to-week NRL sense, but it's the Kevin Sheedy effect of what he was brought to do in GWS all those years ago.
Matthew Nicks at the Crows.
And so we're going to need to probably bring across a couple of pin-up players as well for that same publicity reason. But I'm with you. I think they've made smart signings so far. We're going to get more into that because that comes up again in our next segment. Yeah. And so we may as well transition over to there now.
But yeah, make one point is, don't forget, in Perth there's a lot of English international, people from England and the UK living in Perth. So again, I know I'm a big fan of James McDonald, but to them, they might, because they know more about him, they're like, okay, they might get more excited the fact that James McDonald is coming to the club. Like, fantastic. They've got this break. So yeah, I think it's an interesting situation to be in. I think, yes, we do need a Matt Burton type player, but I think, look, if we don't, I think we've got the players that'll prove to sell jerseys. Like, Hammer was, when Hammer went to the Dolphins, he was good, but no one would have anticipated him to be this good. Same with Katoa. Katoa was, was a great.
There were big raps. There were big raps on Katoa,
but he wasn't proven.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the same sort of vibes from McDonald and the likes of Henry. So those type of players who get an opportunity, a Bushart could get an opportunity to really prove themselves.
They will grow with more opportunity, basically.
And the last note I'll say, it's funny you should say that Mal Meninga's a draw card. He calls himself a big teddy bear. So I think that suits him pretty well.
Yeah, we will get into that.
Yes.
And yeah, I did enjoy listening to Mal on the Perth Bears official podcast, the Big Bear podcast or something like that.
Yeah,
And he spoke well on there. And again, we'll get into that as well. Let's go through some 3-2-1s, Mitch. We're going to do one each. We'll start with your 1 point, and we'll build up to some threes. But who are you giving 1 point to?
My
For
1
their
point.
early season performance and production so far. And these are players who are contracted and signed to join the Perth Bears as of next season.
So I'm going to go with Harry Newman, another Leeds Rhino player, because his defensive work as a centre has been phenomenal. I think he's made something like 4 or 5 try-saving tackles covering, half the field sort of thing. Like his chase down ability has been fantastic. Again, like James McDonald, he's off the field stuff. Like I've been looking at players who do stuff off the field. Like they could be fantastic players on the field, but if you want culture, you want people who know how to do it. And he's been all about the fans. He's getting around. So all the news is basically he's a good bloke off the field. So he's my 1 point. He would have got more, but he's been part of losing sides, so I can't really give him 3 points for that. But his defensive work's been phenomenal, and which I think is really important for a centre.
Love that. Now, someone who I'm giving 1 point to, whose defensive work has been a mixed bag, I must admit, but hard to argue with what he's been doing in the attacking red zone, and that's West's Tigers outside back Luke Lowley-Leahy, who played on the left wing on the weekend in the Tigers' rort of the Cowboys at Leichhardt Oval, which was just an absolute pristine scene as far as rugby league is concerned. Rugby league at its absolute best down at Leichhardt Oval. It was phenomenal. And Luke Lowley-Leahy, now he's an emerging player. He's going to be 20 when he joins the Bears next year. An interesting little backstory. So I commentate NRL Schoolboy Cup as well. And Luke was part of the Westfields Sports High team that won it about 2-3 years ago when Lachlan Galvin was in the halves for that side. They beat Patrician Brothers Blacktown in the Peter Mulholland Cup final, the New South Wales Schoolboy Cup final. And Luke was actually the fullback of that side. And
Interesting.
for every bit that Galvin stood out in that team, Lowley-Leahy stood out just as much with the number 1 on his back. It's been a heavily, I suppose, under-reported, under-discussed element to what's going on as far as the Bears fullback situation is concerned. But I wouldn't be ruling out him as an option as he continues to develop as a first grader. He was sort of projected to be on the outside looking in as far as the West's Tigers and their starting 13 or even their 19 are concerned. But it was really promising to see him earn a job because there are some options in those outside back ranks right now for the Tigers in terms of players that are fit and available. So for him to score 2 tries on the weekend, and even just after a good preseason to make that team, it's promising. So fingers crossed to him having a big year.
And absolutely. And those tries weren't necessarily walk-ins either. Like he had to earn them. Now I think mentioning the string to Lowley's bow is, I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the reasons why they target him. Yes, he's playing on the wing, but Mal's hasn't got a stupid mind, and the recruiting team aren't stupid, because I reckon if you look at what we've signed, a lot of them can play multiple positions. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if, yes, it has been under-reported, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears have gone, hang on, this guy's got the goods and he can play our future 1, which means we can move meaning to the centres, and that's why I think this 6-man bench for us is going to be great, because I think we'll have a lot of players who can just mix and match. So we won't have to necessarily have your 2 specialist people on the bench. You could just pick and choose.
We've definitely brought a lot of versatility so far. Mitch, give us your 2.
My 2 is Sean Russell from the Parramatta Eels. I think he's had a fantastic start to the season. Yeah, I think I saw him score one of the best tries I've seen in one of the best ones, but it'd be up there. His finishing ability was fantastic. He seems to have improved a lot from last year, and I got excited about it. Like, I was like, yeah, cool, this guy's becoming a Bear. And look, for a youngster, and I sort of feel for the Eels, but I don't at the same time. So he's got my 2 points. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like stealing people's talent, but at the same time, I do. It's a weird situation.
Let's not even go there. But Parramatta are a total basket case. They're one of the worst run clubs.
They are.
I'm professional sport, let alone rugby league.
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Riddance. Good riddance to the Eels.
Trying to be diplomatic, all right? Trying to be nice. Trying to be nice, Phil. But yeah, so I think Sean Russell, I think he seems to have gotten bigger as well. And I think from last year, he had some good, a couple of, a bit of injuries, but he seems to be a bit more mature. Like his positioning, his bulk, his speed, his strength. Yeah, so he's got my 2 just over the pre-season. So his development, I think his mindset has improved over the pre-season and it's showing now. So I think he's got my 2 points.
Yeah, I'm giving 2. I'm cheating a bit here. I'm already breaking the rules in episode 1. But the Panthers boys, Scott Sorensen and Liam Henry, because, I mean, what a start for Penrith. 2 from 2 against 2 probably contending teams in the Sharks and the Broncos. I think they've only conceded 1 try across the opening 2 rounds as well. They look unstoppable. And for us to be pulling across some of that IP, that's really promising. And 2 guys again who, one, Liam Henry specifically, we think is going to continue to grow 100%. As a player. That there were pretty big raps on him coming through, a Blaney Bears Jr., all the rest of it. Now Scott Sorensen, he's more at the other side. He's going to be, I think, 33 next season when he arrives in Perth, but to have someone of his caliber, leadership, experience in big games, experience at test level as well, it's going to be phenomenal. And
we can't forget the training standards that he'd bring as well.
100%.
Like
Yeah. To bring in a couple of Panthers players is elite, but it dovetails to my other point, which I'm tying into things coming in 2s for 2 points. Look at who we've recruited, and I don't think it's a fluke. Now, maybe it is just a massive coincidence, but I believe that there was some method to the 100%. Madness.
Always.
Now, I don't know if that phone call came through, but we've got a few early tech issues which we're working through here, including mowing going on just out.
Part of it,
right outside my window
and my printer.
Your backdrop needs some work, but we'll get there. And the merchandise is coming.
The merchandise is coming. Merchandise is coming. I've had a morning.
So things coming in 2s, right? Now, when you're recruiting someone across to the west, to the most isolated city in the world, which Perth literally is. Yeah. You need to make sure that players are going to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I get the feeling that what they've done is they've targeted players from certain clubs and then gone, maybe there's some kind of package or tandem deal here. Look at the Panthers, Henry and Sorensen. Look at Catalans over in the Super League as well. You've got Isaac Suamala-Awe and Toby Sexton now playing over there. We've got the 2 Leeds boys in James McDonnell and Harry Newman, potentially another one as well. We've got the Storm boys. We've got Nick Meaney and Tyron Wishart coming across together. I don't think there's it's just a coincidence that they're sort of picking apart. We've got the Sharks duo as well, Talakai, and then also one of the young outside backs in Chris Villa. Yep. So I think there is some method to the madness there.
You forget, absolutely. You forget also forgetting the Curran and Luke Smith connections.
True.
So then you could almost link that into the Sexton link as well. And look, and I think 100%. I've also heard that because Perth is actually it's isolated, but it's also beautiful. Like it's a stunning city.
Yeah.
And if you look at one of the things that they've done really well with the Harry Newman, again Super League angle, is the Harry Newman and the James McDonnell angle is their partners are best friends. So they've been able to recruit them knowing that they won't be isolated. And I think, as I say, there's a third person. I'm not. There's a potentially. I can't. Again, he's a Polish international. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name because I'm really bad at last names.
Nikolai is how you pronounce his first name.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal game in Vegas. He was awesome. Strong, really strong. You know, a bit. I probably liken him to a bit like Tom Burgess. Like, sort of, makes a few silly mistakes, but he's puts in effort.
Okay.
So I think, as you say, the clumps is fantastic, and I think that's one of the reasons why I think Matt Burton will come. I think that's another angle.
Just actually, we're going to save this one for next week, but the Central West links. There's a little teaser there, but we'll keep that in mind. I'm going to transition straight through to my three because it is all linked to a lot of this as well. And I referenced Mal's appearance on that club produced podcast. He speaks about family. He speaks about community, recruiting the person, not just the player. Mm-hmm. They seem to be, they're all singing on the same hymn sheet as far as recruiting good character players.
Yep.
And again, look, a lot of this is talk right now, and the proof will be in the pudding eventually. Like, that will all come out in the wash, but they're saying a lot of the right things. Like, I've got really high standards as far as building a team and recruiting decisions and getting things right from the top down, and having a stable organization running things from the start, focusing on the right key areas. And I couldn't be more all in on what the Bears have managed to do so far. Not just Mal, but Ian Millwood's over there as well. David Sharp, the GM. So, look, I think they're off to a really good start. Yeah, no, Absolutely. They don't have those marquee or pin-up boys yet, but the way that they've built out their roster, they're making a cake. The icing will come. Yep. I think that there are really solid foundations there. So I give my 3 points to the Bears recruiting team.
Yep. Okay. I want to link into that one because my 3 is Tyrone Wishart.
Yeah.
I think, as I said before, I think he has been overshadowed by the spine that he's had to contend with. I generally think he signed a 5-year deal to come across. Didn't cost as much over because he loves coming over here for the surf. That's the other thing too. I think they've stuck to their guns. Just to extend on your comment about the recruiting team, they've obviously set a bar saying this is how much we're prepared to pay players, and said we're not going to just go all in on a player just because. Like, they wanted to have people wanting to come to the club as opposed to just come for the money, which I think is fantastic. Like, this whole talk about how they're missing out on players, I think that's stupid, because they've obviously said no. As you say, picking the player, and if you hear about the McDonald's, the Harry Newmans, those type of players where they do go and help out around the place, that's exactly right. But Tyrone Wishart, for me, he's my 3 because he's just a battler. I think he's got the absolute potential to be our...
That's selling him short.
No. What I'm saying is a battler. Like, he just does not stop. Like, he's a workhorse.
Right.
And so, I think I saw him get a hit. Just got absolutely drilled. I can't remember who it was against, but he just got straight up. Didn't roll around. You could tell he was hurt, but he was just got up. And I think that's, if you're a young bloke playing against like the likes of Josh Papali'i, about to get drilled, you're seeing one of your senior blokes get up and keep going. That's pretty uplifting. So I think, and his ability to sort of transition really well between Harry Grant, I think hasn't had the opportunity to sort of shine properly.
They breed them tough on the South Coast, and they breed them well. It is fertile rugby league territory down there. Well,
his father was a champion, so
shout out Gerringong.
Yeah, I don't see why. So here's my 3.
And through a couple of South Coast connections, I have been told, and again, take this with a grain of salt or whatever. But apparently he's told people that he's going over there as the hooker.
Yeah.
So I reckon he's going to be the one wearing 9 on their back. If you Google into the internet now, Bears best 17 for 2027, they've still got the hooker position blank. I don't think it is blank. I think it's got Wishart's name all over it.
Yeah. I hope he's 9.
Yeah, me too.
I see him better as a 9. because that's what I've seen him play most at the Storm. I think.
Yeah.
Um,
I'd like to see him starting 9, and then you have a hooker or hybrid hooker option off the bench. Maybe it's a Connor Watson or someone like that can come on and play hooker, so that Wishart can also be the backup half.
Yep.
And again, now that with the bench extended to 6, maybe you can still carry another half on the bench potentially, but they might look at Wishart as an opportunity to start at hooker. But then if something goes wrong with one of our halves, you've got him to slot straight in there, and then you bring your reserve hooker on.
100%. And I think, you could even talk to Laualii if same with if Meany does go to number 1, which I'm fairly certain that's why he's signed. But I think, look, the other 9 options you could say is that they've got a bit of a backlog at the Raiders. We've got the Owen Paddy situation with Jaden Brayley and Starling. So if we need to have a backup sort of 9 there, one of those players. But I'd love to see Wishart start at 9. I think he's better suited at 9. But I think I love Wishart. I love the name Wishart. It could sell names. It sounds great when Dan Gianni commentates it. It's fantastic. I'm a big
Dan
I'm a
Ganane.
big, I call him Gianni just because I always have. It's really embarrassing. Ganane.
Wishart.
It's great, isn't it? It's such a NRL amazing name. So I'm all in for the Wishart train.
Love it. All right, that better do us, because this is episode 1, and hopefully this is our least listened to episode of all time.
Look,
We've put we've recorded plenty of good stuff. We might have to rehash a lot of it when we start picking up community and listeners along the way. But
no, we'll get heaps.
Thank you for joining us, Mitch. A great first episode. Go and please give us a follow, a subscribe, all those good things, so that we can start to build out some audience. We'll be back with you next midweek. Give us your sign off, Mitch.
Look, I have got one. I work with it every week, so up the Bears.
Go you Bears.